Step right up, strap in, and swallow a soy pill, class, because you're not in Kansas anymore. This is the land where the testosterone taps have been replaced by estrogen espresso machines, pummeling away the last vestiges of a world that once was. Welcome to 2099 where, in the throbbing heart of Femtopia, a colossal statue of Rosie the Riveter stands tall, not just flexing but practically ripping a new one in the sky with her bicep. In her mighty hand, she's clenching a bottle of rosé so hard, you'd think it just made a sexist joke. The buildings around her, shaped like overcompensating tubes of lipstick and stilettos that could poke God's eye out. Where's Rambo, you ask? He's been replaced by Regina George, lighting up every fucking window on a never-ending loop. Action is a forgotten genre, crushed under the colossal rerun weight of Mean Girls, Pride and Prejudice, and Legally Blonde. The traditional men's suit, once a symbol of power and masculinity, is now a relic of the past. In its place, pink onesies and furry costumes. In the emotional war zone of Femtopia, where soldiers strut around in blushing pink camo and twitching cat ears, masculinity is redefined. Battlefields aren't marred by mortars but bordered by picket lines, and a soldier's most potent weapon is a well-aimed, passive-aggressive barb. Draped in outfits befitting a unicorn-themed soiree rather than a military operation, these men exchange war cries for screeching demands to speak to the manager, their once macho grunts now just distant echoes of the past. Amid this absurdity, the real warriors emerge, the SDS, Special Dave Service. These are no run-of-the-mill soldiers. The SDS agents are a deadly elite, masters of verbal javelin throwing and demolishers of reputations. Their arsenal doesn't include grenades or rifles. Instead, they're armed with expert-level sarcastic sighs and eye rolls so theatrical they warrant a standing ovation. Femtopia's Masculympics are the talk of the town, transforming the Olympics into a tragicomic spectacle. Bedsheet folding frenzy kickstarts the games, as brawny men, their foreheads slick with sweat, grapple with the cryptic challenge of fitted sheets. Their hulking muscles, once a symbol of brute strength, now subjected to the rigors of domestic order. Next on the docket is extreme knitting. The very fabric of tradition is shredded as men dive headfirst into the insane wool and cotton maelstrom. The swift click-clack of knitting needles drowns out the roaring crowd as they hustle to craft a flawless sweater. A misstep here, a dropped stitch there, and they're toast. The crowd wouldn't have it any other way. Then comes the sensitive slam dunk, a cruel parody of their former glory days. The court rings with the sounds of sobbing, not sneakers screeching against the polished wood. Instead of scoring points, the real game is to see who can weep the hardest over the achievement of getting a ball through a hoop. The 100-meter apology sprint follows suit. It's a race against time and dignity, as men gasp out apologies such as, "I'm sorry," and "please forgive me," like they're trying to clear their conscience before Judgment Day. It's not about who's the fastest, but who can grovel the most sincerely. After all, in Femtopia, saying sorry is more of an endurance sport than a sign of courtesy anyway. But, the crown jewel of the Masculympics. The culinary wrestling. Watch as men now go toe-to-toe with the kitchen's most formidable opponent, the soufflé. The fear in their eyes is palpable as they navigate the precarious peaks and valleys of egg whites and sugar. Each man wrestling with his own edible Everest, terrified that it will collapse like a house of cards. An unnerving metaphor for their sanity in this estrogen-charged dystopia. The grand finale is the poetry slam brawl. Forget about grunts and body slams, this brawl requires a different kind of strength. It's all about articulating the deepest, most sensitive emotions in rhymed verse. Witness the sight of once hardened men trembling under the weight of their own vulnerability, their words a testament to a new age of sensitive masculinity. This, dear folks, is the era of the emotionally aware gladiator, where weapons and aggression are replaced with meter and rhyme, and tears are shed in place of blood. Women now dominate traditionally male-led fields, bringing a level of creativity and unorthodoxy that would have made their male predecessors' heads spin. Construction projects have become towering, artful monstrosities. Think the Eiffel Tower, but in the shape of a colossal mascara brush. Plumbing has become a surreal experience, with pipes laid in the aesthetically pleasing patterns of Celtic knots and hair bows. Don't ask how it works, it just does. Meanwhile, men are hustled home before a 6 p.m. curfew, the girls' night out turning into a guy's night in. The fear of mansplaining rehabilitation centers is real. Men are brought here to unlearn their mansplaining habits and instead learn the art of listening without interrupting. After intensive group therapy sessions and countless hours absorbing the wisdom of Jane Austen, they are assigned a 5,000-word essay analyzing Ryan Gosling's emotional character arc in The Notebook. Their recovery is measured by the sincerity in their voices when they say, "You're right," and "I hadn't considered that." Maternity leave? Ha! Babies are lab-made now, because mama's too busy making stacks to be pushing out kids. Enter the latest femtopian reality TV sensation, Real House Husbands. Stripped of their former power, these men are thrown into the gladiator arena of domesticity, their trials and tribulations broadcast in real time to an eager audience. Each crumpled souffle, each stubborn toddler tantrum, each laundry disaster is immortalized on camera, bringing amusement to millions. Viewers cackle over their rosé, while the once self-proclaimed alphas and sigmas stumble through the labyrinth of house chores, their masculine pride crumbling under the weight of an Instagram-perfect lifestyle. #living my best life. I swear. Off camera, the online community erupts in a frenzy of critiques, furiously typing spiteful gossip and hurling the infamous beta insult on social media. Their fingers flying over the keys, their faces lit by the cold glow of their screens. In a world where they once ruled, men have become the jesters, providing relentless comic relief in this matriarchal insanity. Okay class, that wraps up today's lesson on femininity gone mental. Don't forget to hit subscribe, or don't, I'm not your therapist. Join me next time for another exciting episode of I Demand to Speak to the Manager of This Channel.